What is going on, guys? I'm Consumer Tech Review, and today we're going to be doing a review of the Redragon K630 60% mechanical keyboard. I'm going to do the unboxing for you, and then I'm going to go over the pros and the cons and my own real life experience. And if at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same 60% keyboard, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, and Canada. But let's do the unboxing. Here is the timestamp if you want to skip it. All right, guys, unboxing the K630 Dragonborn. This is the wired version of the K630 or the K530 Draconic. A huge launch for Redragon, and this is the cheaper wired version. And I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, I prefer wired keyboards over wireless in 95% of cases, just because my setups stay pretty much the same. Now, you got typical Redragon box, got some of the stuff on the back. Pretty nice box. Let's get this thing opened. There it is. You got a keycap puller and a switch puller, and then the keyboard itself, which I'm pretty sure is a USB-C detachable cable. Here is a manual. There's the keyboard. Okay, let's get to this. You've got, I think, the same cable that you get with the Draconic, which is that 90 degrees USB-C cable, which is pretty nice. You get a sticker. That's pretty much everything in the box. And then here is the keyboard. Now, I'm gonna say right off the bat, they have the functions, like the home, all of this stuff. They have it printed differently than they had it on the K30 Draconic or the K530 Draconic, where they were side printed. So these are top printed. And honestly, I don't know which one I prefer, but this is not an issue, and it is nice printing. The insert F12s, all that stuff. It is nice printing, better than that disgusting white print that a lot of companies use. You got the red Redragon logo right there, and you do have flip-up risers on the back, which do feel nice. They're fairly small, but it's only a 60% keyboard, so feel pretty good. And they do have a large rubber pad on the bottom. Now, I got these in brown switches, but I think you can get them in browns, reds, or blues, which is an upgrade over the K530 because I think you could only get that in browns, at least at launch. Now, the detachable USB-C is on the side here, and I'm not really sure what that light is, but it definitely does something. Let's get a sound test. Again, these are Altemu brown switches. The keycaps actually feel really nice. All right, let's get a sound test. Now, one thing we're gonna be looking out for in the full review is how bright the RGB is, because the K530 had really bright RGB, especially at the price point, far above their other products. So hopefully this one keeps that same RGB, because really these switches, obviously they're Altemu switches, but paired with this keyboard, it sounds good. It feels so solid, and the stabilizers actually feel really good. But let's see the full review. Take it away, Future Consumer Tech Review. And we are back. Let's jump right into the first pro, which is it's a 60% form factor. And Redragon also, you probably know this, it was a very big launch. They released the K530 Draconic. Now this one, the K630 Dragonborn, is actually almost the same keyboard, but a non-Bluetooth variant, a wired variant. Now there are some differences, so stick around even if you've seen that review. But probably the biggest difference is this one costs 55 bucks and the K530 Draconic costs 69 bucks, which is a big price difference. And if you're somebody like me who doesn't really care about Bluetooth that much unless I'm traveling with a keyboard, I prefer it wired, and to save that much money, let's see if this is worth it. All right, build quality is awesome. It sits in this one plastic shell, which I really like. It's high quality plastic. It's the exact same case as the K530. The design is just really, really pretty. It has the keys just sitting right on the same line as the case. It looks pretty. They did a really great job with the design. However, there is kind of one flaw, and it's not that big of a flaw, but the K530 had a battery inside. It had all of the Bluetooth stuff inside packed in there, which did make the case a little bit more solid feeling because there's nothing hollow in there because it's got all the Bluetooth and battery and everything. Now this one, you tap on it and you can hear a definite difference between the K630 and the K530 because of the battery not being in the K630. Take a listen to that. So it is a little bit more hollow. However, that hasn't actually changed the typing experience and the sound of it, or at least changed the sound of it that much. Not at all noticeable, although tapping on the back, you'd think that it's bigger difference than it is. All right, now like all Red Dragon keyboards, this thing is using Altemu switches. You can pick from reds, blues, or browns. I personally got browns because that's my favorite. But this is actually a pro because on the K530, they only released it with browns. Now you can get it with blues or reds, but initially on the release, you could only get it with browns. So I'm happy that they released this one with all of those switches so you can pick whichever ones you want. Now these switches do feel good on this keyboard because of how solid it feels. It feels really, really similar to the K530, almost identical, and you don't really notice that much of a difference. But again, I do wish they slimmed down the case or put some like foam in the bottom. Now let's talk the keycaps. These are really nice to come stock on a keyboard. They aren't like the K530 that have the side printed stuff. These are actually printed on the top. All of the other functions are printed on the top, which I actually prefer this. It looks a little bit cleaner. I know like everyone's like 60%, it's gotta have side printing. I'm not a big fan of that. I think it looks messy, and I think this one actually looks cleaner than the K530 and a lot of other 60% keyboards that have that side printing on there. You guys might like it, I don't. It's not that I don't like it, it just looks cleaner. And if clean is what you're going for, most of the time, if you're getting a 60% keyboard, it is. This one looks better. All right, now let's talk about the RGB. It is really, really good on this keyboard. Now, just like the K530, this keyboard is way brighter than all of the other Red Dragon keyboards. Part of that is due to the white plate that bounces the light up, but it looks really, really nice. The RGB is bright, it's thorough, good colors, a ton of modes, all the other modes that are on all the other Red Dragon keyboards. You got static colors, everything else. But it is very consistent light. It's very bright. This would be a fantastic keyboard to put pudding keycaps on. And again, this RGB might be some of the best in the price range. For 55 bucks on a 60%, this RGB, yeah, I'm not sure I've actually used, except the Gamma K. The Gamma K might have similar type RGB to this, but besides that one, I'm not sure. This one is really, really bright and it's got good colors. All right, now let's talk about a pro/con. So this one has a detachable USB-C connection. However, it is on the left side, just like the K530. Now, it was fine on the K530 because that's mainly used for charging because it is a Bluetooth keyboard. However, on this one, that's used for connection. So all the USB is used for is connection, which means it's always gonna be plugged in. Now, I personally like using custom cables, and none of my cables are that 90-degree USB-C. So I personally would have liked it to be on the back of it, like in the middle. That would have been great. It never bothered me on the K530 because it was just for charging, but with this one, you're gonna have it plugged in all the time. I just think setups look cleaner with one on the back, and two, if you already have custom key cables like coil cables, you don't want to have to get either an adapter or a new cable or try to find a 90-degree cable that you like. This is not at all a deal breaker, and the cable that they have is pretty good. It just doesn't look fancy like a coil cable does. All right, moving to the next pro, it does have flip-up risers, which more and more 60% keyboards are not having, which is crazy to me. So that is definitely a good pro to have. Now the next one is, it is hot swappable, but it's only hot swappable without Temu's like most Red Dragon keyboards. This is just if one of your switches breaks or you just get the sudden urge that you want a different style switch. I guess you could just take them all off and put Altemu switches on there, like a different style, but you can only hot swap them with Altemu's. So yeah, now I would go over the cons, but I've kind of listed all of them instead of separating them. So hopefully it wasn't too confusing. Now it might sound to you like there are a lot of cons, and there are a lot of cons. However, this keyboard is refined. There's a lot of keyboards that I'll review, and some of them are like really good. They have a lot of cool features, but they're not quite refined. The KC84 I reviewed was a great keyboard and I loved it. It had a bunch of cool features, better features than this. Obviously it wasn't a 60% keyboard, but it wasn't quite as refined. There's certain things that you can't put a spec on, a statistic on. And that's one of the things that makes like the new Red Dragon keyboards and like the TechWear Phantom like such good keyboards, because they're so refined. Even though they don't have the top end specs, and yes, the switches are not Kale switches, and they don't have all of these great, fantastic specs, they're refined. So if you guys want a refined experience, this is still a fantastic keyboard, and it might be one of the #1 keyboards I'm gonna recommend. But again, guys, if you do wanna go check this out, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, and Canada. I do highly recommend this if you want a wired 60% mechanical keyboard. I will be doing a top 5 best budget 60% mechanical keyboards very, very soon. So if you do wanna go see that, definitely subscribe below to Consumer Tech Review to get all my new latest keyboard reviews. And I do want to say, I'm trying to keep this as budget for you guys because I am Consumer Tech Review, not Enthusiast Tech Review. That wouldn't go well. Doesn't sound good. However, I do want to know your guys' opinion. I've been trying to do more budget keyboards and try to really weed out and find the best ones for you guys. But should I do more expensive keyboards? Should I review the Keychrons? I know a lot of you guys have been asking me to review more expensive keyboards like that. I think my niche was kind of like doing less expensive keyboards, but I can do all of them. So tell me what you guys want to see for next keyboard videos. Do you want me to do mid-grade keyboards? Do you want me to build my own keyboards? I know a couple of you guys asked me to do that. I'm definitely down to do that. I just don't know if you guys want me to. So definitely comment below if you do want me to do all of that stuff. If you want me to do more expensive keyboards, if you want me to customize keyboards, if you want me to build a whole custom keyboard. But this was Consumer Tech Review. Thank you for all the love and support, and I'll see you guys later.